This review is going to focus on a number of titles that are aimed at the kids. Some of them are going to appeal to adult fans as well, but for the most part, these are geared for the children. First up, we have Harry Potter, the DVD game called Wizarding World. I've played one of these Harry Potter DVD games before, and I wasn't particularly impressed with it, especially when I got stuck on a challenge that no matter what I did, I could not get past. Unfortunately, I was hoping for some improvement on this one. It doesn't do a whole lot to better that original experience. The gameplay is slightly better. I didn't get hung up the way I did last time, but overall the game just isn't that rewarding. It's geared for kids, so most of what you're doing is navigating through menus as you make your way through these challenges, but frankly after a while it gets a little bit tedious. Without any real extra features or anything to kind of boost the experience of the disc itself, it's really not a great purchase. I would say maybe rent it if you can find it for rent. Let the kids play with it for, a weekend and then take it back. Next, we have the current entry in the inexplicably popular Air Buddies franchise called Santa Buddies, The Legend of Santa Paws. In this film, the Santa Buddies, as they're called, travel to the North Pole to help Santa Paws' son, Santa Buddy, rediscover the meaning of Christmas. It's pretty typical Air Buddy stuff. I've watched a number of these movies now for review, and they just generally don't do that much for me. I recognize the fact that I'm not the target audience, but they're kind of silly, and the characterization of the different puppies really doesn't do very much for me. The voice acting is kind of pedestrian, in my opinion, and the way they characterize some of the dogs, like B-Dog, who's the street-smart gangsta puppy, I can't say I'm a big fan of it. However, if you have young kids, I'm guessing in the neighborhood of like that 5 to 8-year-old range, they'll probably get a kick out of this. There's some physical humor, some obvious gags, and of course in this case it happens to be a Christmas movie, which makes it pretty appropriate for the holidays. I got the Blu-ray to review, which I think is interesting. I don't know how many parents are out there buying Blu-ray discs for their young kids, but it does include the DVD combo, which is a standard thing that Disney is doing nowadays, of which I do approve. The film looks and sounds great, although for the most part I can't imagine children will care, and I think most adults will probably try to pay as little attention to the film as they possibly can. So the transfer and the surround soundtrack, probably not the most important aspect of this disc. What you do get for extra features isn't that impressive. You get a sing-along to the Christmas carols with the Buddies feature, as well as a music video for Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Luckily, those come on both the Blu-ray and the DVD, but I'm kind of surprised that there isn't a little bit more on this for the kids, maybe some interactive games, or bloopers, or that featurette on the dog, something like that. Switching gears a little bit, we now switch to Marvel superheroes, who have two pretty exciting releases out. The first one is Wolverine and the X-Men Volumes 1 through 3. This is a 3-disc box set that includes the first 3 releases of the Wolverine and the X-Men animated series, which, for my money, is one of the best Marvel animated series in quite some time. Focusing, of course, on Wolverine, but also including the whole team of X-Men, I really enjoy this cartoon. Each disc has been released separately, and this box set just collects the 3 of them. It doesn't add any new material to it, but you do still get a pretty good amount of bonus features, including a couple of making-of featurettes, and a couple of commentary tracks, some character profiles, and even a motion comic. So you do get some pretty nice stuff with this box set. Also from Marvel is the Spectacular Spider-Man Volume 5, which is the next release in the Spectacular Spider-Man DVD series. This is another one that I find a little bit frustrating. They keep releasing them in single volumes, but then after the first 4 volumes came out, they released the complete Season 1 box set. That seems to be Sony's MO for this particular series. I'm not quite sure why. This release includes 4 episodes, episodes 14, 15, 16, and 17 of the series. Some of the previous releases have included 5 episodes. This one only has 4. Much like Wolverine and the X-Men is my favorite X-Men cartoon in quite some time, the Spectacular Spider-Man is probably one of my least favorite Spider-Man cartoons. Not to say that it's bad, because it's not. It's fairly enjoyable. But it goes kind of along the lines of DC's The Batman animated series. It takes a really stylized, kind of heavily anime-influenced approach, and it kind of redesigns and revamps some of the villains, makes Spider-Man hip and cool. And while I guess that's a good approach for the kids, I can't say that it does a lot for me as a diehard, long-time Spider-Man fan. Again, that being said, it's not a bad show at all. I enjoy watching it, but it's not my favorite incarnation of Spider-Man to date. This DVD set does not include any extra features. Switching gears once again, we now have Dora's Christmas Carol, which is the new Dora the Explorer Christmas DVD. This one was a big hit in my house. I have 2.5-year-old twins. They're big fans of Dora. They really enjoy her, and this is kind of a new holiday movie that was released first on DVD. I'm sure it'll make the rounds to television. It's clearly geared to be split up into 2 half-hour episodes, but I will say that it was a very popular show in my house, and the kids really enjoyed this Christmas adventure as they're finally getting to that age where they can really kind of grasp the concept of Christmas. In this story, Swiper the Fox makes it onto Santa's naughty list, and Dora and her friends have to help teach him the meaning of Christmas and get him onto the nice list so that Santa will bring him presents. As much as I'm not generally a fan of Dora, I find her kind of annoying, frankly, as a parent. It's what I do, but this was a pretty cute, fun little adventure. The kids loved it. It's really not the worst of the Dora things that I've seen, and so if you have kids and they happen to like Dora, then this one is definitely worth checking out. In terms of extra features, you only get a little bit. There's a making-of featurette that's really about the song that's sung by the youth chorus. There's a Jingle Bells music video and a We Wish You a Merry Christmas music video. Moving on to another animated series that's also very popular with kids, although not mine, we have 2 releases of Spongebob Squarepants. The first one is Spongebob Squarepants Truth or Square, which includes an extended episode with celebrity appearances and a handful of extra features. I don't really get into SpongeBob, I have to say. It's never really been the most exciting cartoon for me. I know it has this really weird kind of adult fan base to go with all the kids that like it, and I've never quite figured out why. The show's just kind of silly, and frankly I find most of the characters rather annoying. But again, this is a kids DVD review podcast, and I'm not a kid, so I'm judging it as an adult. If you like SpongeBob, then this DVD release is perfectly fine. You get 5 episodes. One of them is extended with some never-before-seen flashbacks. You also get a behind-the-scenes of the SpongeBob opening, some karaoke music videos, as well as extra features. So if you're a SpongeBob fan, it's a pretty decent DVD release. It runs almost 2 hours. You can't go wrong with that. Of course, if you're a SpongeBob fan, what you'd probably rather have is the SpongeBob SquarePants Season 6 Volume 1. That 2-disc set includes pretty much the first half of Season 6, and it's in a nice kind of box set packaging, and really you get a lot more bang for your buck. While there are no notable extra features on it, you do get a lot of episodes of Squarebob. Not quite. SpongeBob. Finally, wrapping things up, we have 2 releases from Lionsgate of Fraggle Rock. Now, I don't quite get Fraggle Rock, and I can't say that I ever have. I never really watched the show as a kid, and I think that's part of the problem. I don't have that nostalgia for the show that so many people seem to have because I didn't watch it as a child. So my exposure to it as an adult has left me a little bit baffled. When I say I don't get it, I don't mean that I don't understand it. I get the concept of the show. I just don't quite get what everyone loves about it so much. And maybe that's because I'm not the biggest Muppets fan in the world. I like the Muppets just fine. I grew up with them. I enjoy some of the characters. But I've never really held on to that love for the Muppets that some people seem to still have as adults. Again, that being said, I think kids will enjoy it. And if you're a Fraggle fan, which so many people seem to be, then these are both great releases. And what they are Jim Henson's Fraggle Rock, the complete final season. That's the 4th season for those of you keeping track. And Jim Henson's Fraggle Rock, A Merry Fraggle Holiday, which of course is a holiday special featuring everyone's favorite Fraggles. Both of them are perfectly fine releases. The Fraggle Holiday one is a single-disc release, whereas the complete final season is a multiple-disc release, which includes a number of extra features. Over 5 discs, you do get a pretty good amount of special features. That includes an interview with the performers inside the costumes, an interview with the puppet makers, an interview with the directors of the show, an interview with the musical directors of the show, a featurette on the evolution of the theme song, excerpts from the last day of shooting Fraggle Rock, and finally excerpts from the rap party. So if you're a Fraggle fan, you really can't go wrong with this release. It's pretty great stuff, and I think people will really enjoy that. The Fraggle Holiday also includes a couple of bonus features, including an animated episode called The Great Fraggle Freeze. While I'm sure there's an animated Fraggle collection somewhere in the works that people will see, this is kind of a nice bonus for those of you who remember that show, similar to when the Ghostbusters DVDs that came out a while back included a few episodes of the real Ghostbusters, which up until that time had been pretty much unavailable on DVD. In addition, you get an Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas sing-along, and a look at Jim Henson's The Christmas Toy, as well as a trivia game and a holiday game. So it's not quite the cornucopia of extra features that the Fraggle Rock the final season includes, but it's a little bit of extra bang for your buck. Obviously, the real attraction here is the holiday episodes, 3 holiday-themed episodes of Fraggle Rock, which I'm sure is going to be a lot of fun for people to watch over the holidays.